Here for race number 2 this afternoon at Sandown. Mark Skate, by virtue of winning heat number 1 today, starts on pole position with Thomas Mazzera alongside. And the second row is the Peter Jackson team cars of Alan Jones and Glenn Seaton. Peter Brock in the Telecom Mobile net 05 out of 5. Jimmy Richards, the Winfield number 6 out of 6, and Larry Perkins, the Castrol Commodore, out of 7. From 8, it's Wayne Gardner in the Coca-Cola Commodore, Tony Longhurst in the B&H Commodore out of 9, and Paul Morris, the Diet Coke Commodore, starts out of position number 10. From 11 at 7, Neil Crompton, the Coke Commodore. From 12-3, Trevor Ashby, the Lansdale Smash Repairs Commodore, and Tony Scott in the Holden Commodore, 54 out of 13. Bob Jones in the Ampol Max 3 Commodore out of 14, and Chris Smurden in the Protec Computers Commodore starts out of position 15. 16-14, Stuart McCall in the Cartmania Commodore. From 17, it's 47, John Trimble in the Metropolis Commodore. John Bauer in the Shell car, and Dick Johnson electing to fit new tyres and start from the back of the grid, 18 and 19. And they've got their supporters up the back of the field, but they have a lot of work to do. Set to run now. Race 2, round 2 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship, and Mark Scape lights up the tyres off the line. Is snaffled both sides by the Peter Jackson Falcons of Glenn Seaton and Alan Jones. They come down, and Perkins has got off, and they've had a collision here. A touch of cars. Perkins manages to split the pair of them. Jim Richards winds up with the worst part of that, and they go either side as Dick Johnson and John Bauer take off. 20 seconds behind the field after putting new tyres.
Oh, look at driver Neil Crompton
has gone off.
And who else is there? One of the Peter Jackson Falcons. We can't tell whether that's Jones or Seaton at this stage. It's Glenn Seaton.
Terrible, and it doesn't look like Gardner's going to get out of there.
It's Crompton, his teammate, but his tyres spinning on the grass. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to reverse out of the fence.
Some days are diamonds and some are stones.
Well, Mazzera got a terrible start. We can't even see where he is now in the lineup.
Alan Jones, you could see as they came into that first corner, he had everything locked up. He almost lost it himself but managed to gather it up. Then only 100 metres down the track, both his teammate and Neil Crompton ended off in the sand. A very dramatic start to this heat too. So Scape will lead them through. Larry Perkins up into second position. Now Bathurst winner from last year. Sudden change of form in this second heat. Alan Jones in third, and the first of the Holden Racing Team Commodores in fourth as they come onto the main straight for the first time.
Everyone blamed a very tight Amaroo Park for no action. Last weekend, you got one of the widest, fastest racetracks, and the guys can't get through 2 turns without scarring the sheet metal here today. Mark Scape, the Winfield Commodore, leads from Larry Perkins. Alan Jones, car number 30, the first of the Peter Jackson Falcons. And let's have a look at the Tui's red replay of what actually happened. Off our race cam, coming down, some gouging here. Here's Wayne Gardner, number 4 comes up. He allows one of the Winfield cars to go through on the inside of him. Then a touch back behind, and around he goes. So I'd say he got a helping hand. That's the way it finished up.
Well, Glenn Seaton will be very distraught about that. He's a championship contender. He goes into every race and wants to make everyone count. Champion winner from last year.
Look at Scape, he's got the bit between his teeth. Tremendous straight line speed from the Winfield Chevy. Look at Alan Jones, locks up another brake as they come down to Dandenong Road corner. Larry Perkins still using the Holden V8 in his car as opposed to the Chevy units that are so common now in the Commodores. Certainly no lack of top-end speed, Alan, at this stage.
No, he's come from nowhere, but when people start mixing up their ambitions with their abilities on the opening lap, Larry took advantage and certainly slingshotted himself from the 5th row right up there into 2nd spot, and good on him too.
Peter Brock finished up in 12th position with that belly on the first lap, and Seaton is 21st. He's got back on the track, but boy, hasn't he got a lot of work to do. So Alan Jones really hustling Larry Perkins as they come off the end of the main straight once again. You can see the car's been in the wards, bits of damaged bodywork hanging off the back of the Ford.
Larry gets a little sideways through there, warms up those Dunlops and gives them another warm on the exit. But Jones sits in his draft. Nothing between them. Richards is one back behind them. Next is Wayne Gardner. But up the back straight, here comes AJ on the outside, and the Peter Jackson Falcon side by side with Larry Perkins as they get to the top of the hill. Brave stuff this. It'll be Larry's turn. No two ways about that. Larry finds himself under a little bit of pressure, and that is, in fact, is taking pressure off Mark Scape. Right up behind them, Thomas Mazzera, who was on the front row there, but burst into a sheer wheel spin and lit up the tyres and went absolutely nowhere. Murray Walker, who's a special guest here for the Melbourne Motor Show starting next Friday. Murray, plenty of action in the opening few circuits.
Indeed, and the sensational Mark Scape has done it again. He won at Amaroo, he won the first round, but look at this, because it's the battle for third position behind Larry Perkins, who's come up from about halfway up on the grid. He was telling me just before this race began that he's looking after 6 cars this year, so all his time is cut out, but it hasn't diminished his ability as a driver. This ex-Grand Prix man, Larry Perkins, in second position, and what a battle between Alan Jones, number 30, ex-Grand Prix world champion from Australia, in third position, and tucked up right behind him as Glenn Seaton goes well down the field. Glenn Seaton, who finished in fourth position, and there he is, and he's really fighting. He was 21st last time we saw him, but we are now on lap 4, which is 1/5 distance in this 20-lap race. Glenn Seaton fourth in the first heat, and of course he's second in the championship. He's up to 18th position at the moment. There's Perkins in second place, Alan Jones in third position, and coming up fast behind Alan Jones, Peter Brock. Peter Brock has seared his way through the field, and he was in 5th position in the first heat. So, now we go through at the end of lap 4 into lap 5, which is quarter distance. Glenn Seaton is leading, Larry Perkins is in second position, so it's Holden, then the forward of Alan Jones.
Close enough as they go to the bottom corner. Thank you, Murray. We have an excellent race going here. Glenn Seaton, as Murray alluded to, has got a lot of work to do. Alan Jones at this moment seems to have his hands full containing Thomas Mazzera. And there's Paul Morrison, the Diet Coke Commodore, and Tony Longhurst, the B&H Commodore. They've had a splendid weekend. They're still chasing development work on the car. And by the time we go to the touring car round at Lakeside, expect to see Longhurst and Morris really come out of the blue.
Well, they've done extremely well with 2 brand new cars, and cars that they wouldn't have been familiar with. They only took delivery of them about 4 weeks ago. I think both Paul Morris and Tony Longhurst have done a great job with these 2 cars in the formula this year.
Here's race cam as we take with Wayne Gardner. He heads into the left-hander. Carrying our 7 Sport race cam today is Wayne. And he would be unhappy with the fact that he's already had Neil Crompton, one of his cars, go off down there, but he's concentrating on trying to log a top 5 or 6 finish here today at Sandown. They come across the line, Mark Scape out by about 5 or 6 car lengths. Wayne Gardner carries our race cam. Wayne, the car any better in the second heat?
Well, at the moment, it's quite blazed up and it's hard to drive.
Okay, I'll let you get on with it. I didn't think you've got a handful, son. Thank you.
I have, yeah, sorry.
Thanks, mate. So Wayne Gardner continues in the Coke Commodore. Up front, Mark Scape, Larry Perkins, Alan Jones, Thomas Mazzera, Jim Richards. Then, of course, we have Wayne Gardner.
And I must say, Mike, as a motorcycle freak, that it's a real joy for me to see world champion Wayne Gardner transferring so well from 2 wheels to 4. He's most impressive, and he's set up the new team of his superbly.
Yes, he's got a lot of work to do. Early days yet for Wayne's team, but he made the transition, Murray, very well from 2 to 4.
Lap 6 out of 20, and it's still Larry Perkins, second position, number 30. Alan Jones in the Ford Falcon in third position. It's the battle for second, third, and fourth, and through up into third position goes Mazzera ahead of Alan Jones. So Alan Jones drops back a place into fourth position, and Mazzera, who was making the running with Mark Scape in the first heat, is now sitting about Larry Perkins. There's Perkins, there's Mazzera, and Alan Jones has now been taken, as you see before your very eyes, by Jim Richards in the Holden Commodore. So Alan Jones has lost 2 places in the Ford Falcon. He's gone down from third position to 5th.
Yes, brakes starting to come into play here, Murray, after a hard day's work, and these fellas are getting nailed at the end of the straight, just getting out of their rhythm. But I thought Mazzera made a terrifically aggressive move there, coming onto the main straight, and has just capitalized ever since.
Jones comes back again, dives down the inside of Richards. This will be close stuff. Jones won't give way, and nor does he. He gets up alongside Jim Richards and takes 1 spot back. But he's had a lot of work to do because of losing 3 spots in the last 4 laps.
Well, it's single file down through the S's, Mike, and it's a brave man that makes the wrong decision over the top of that hill, and on that occasion, definitely Jim Richards had to give sway to Alan Jones.
Mike, while you've been looking at the front of the grid, I've been looking at the back, and it's very interesting to see that John Bow and Dick Johnson, who started at the back with a 20-second penalty in the Ford Falcons as a result of changing tyres, and now we're with Dick Johnson as he's fighting his way through the field. What's the traffic like, Dick? Oh, it's okay, no. Dick is very busy indeed, but he's up to 17th place, having started at the back of the grid.
He's done very well. Just looking at the ones who did start back there, Glenn Seaton has made his way to 15th, but he has gone to the pits. So Glenn Seaton in the pits. This will be a weekend that he would prefer to forget. The closest racetrack to his home base, and nothing has gone right for him this weekend. Tyres yesterday, missing the dash this morning and playing catch-up all day. Bowers up to 12th, Johnson now to 13th, and Glenn Seaton, before pulling to the pits, had made his way to 15th spot.
Here we have Mazzara descending on Larry Perkins.
Lap 8 out of 12 this, and Thomas Mazzara is the man to watch. Second in the first leg to give himself 16 points in the championship, and moved to third position on 37 points behind Mark Scape on 66. And Scape is going through now to complete another lap, and he's increased his maiden.
Well, looks like he's back out on the racetrack again, Glenn Seaton. STP race cam shows he's just checking out the traffic there as he dives down to the left-hander. So he's back out. I'd say they've had a tyre change there. Thomas Mazzara getting closer all the time to the tail of Larry Perkins.
And Alan, you can see from the way that the car's absolutely rocking on the suspension as they go around the left and right-handers, that they're absolutely on the ragged edge of adhesion.
They sure are that, Murray. There's no doubt about that.
They go up the back straight, and we check them out on the Shell race score. Mark Scape is your race leader. Larry Perkins running in second, but closing very quickly is Thomas Mazzara. Alan Jones in the 30 car runs in fourth, and Jimmy Richards is fifth. Mark Scape and the Winfield Commodore leads them down the front straight. There's Larry Perkins. Right behind Perkins, past the 7 sport sign, is of course Thomas Mazzara. Next, Alan Jones, then Jim Richards. Mazzara has been working the last few laps to pull in Larry Perkins. He's done that. Wouldn't surprise me to see him make one of those inside moves up on the entry to the pit turn.
He's trying to, but Larry, being the tough competitor he is, he's certainly not going to give Mazzara any opening here, and neither should he. We'll be watching Larry drift to the left up back straight here. He'll want to protect the top corner, and it'll be interesting to see. Well, he hasn't, but Mazzara isn't up alongside him either. So one more lap safe for the Castro car.
And meantime, at the back, John Bow has gone from nearly zero, certainly to hero, because he started at the back. He's in fifth position, and there's contact between Larry Perkins and going round in the Holden and trying to get past him, Thomas Mazzara.
Watch this next corner. No, Perkins feints it across to the left. That's where Thomas has been doing a lot of passing today. But he's given Larry a tap in the tail, telling him that the liquid engineering isn't fast enough today. And he will go to the inside of him as they come down the straight, and that will put Larry at a disadvantage for the next turn. Here comes Mazzara, car number 015.
Up into second place, he's on the inside, and Larry Perkins has to give way. Go round the long way. Masterly move by Thomas Mazzara, and Larry Perkins dodges back behind his wing, but again, Thomas Mazzara has got the right line for the right-hander, the left-hander that follows. He has a secure second place now. Now, the question is, can he do anything, Thomas Mazzara, about closing the gap between himself in second place and the red Commodore of Mark Scape, race leader for the second time this afternoon?
Well, that's a tough job now. There's still about 10 car lengths advantage that Mark Scape has got, and if Mazzara can pull that back in the remaining laps, he'll have done a tremendous job.
Whoop, locking them up.
1.7 seconds between Mazzara in second place and Mark Scape, the race leader. And you can see for yourselves that they're carving their way through past the tail-enders now, who are dutifully and politely moving over. They're watching their mirrors. That's good. Not holding up Mazzara, not holding up Larry Perkins, and not holding up Alan Jones, who is in fourth position still, having lost 2 places earlier. Mike, can I talk to Dick? Can you hear me if I shout loud enough?
You have to shout loud. We'll set it up.
Dick Richards, can you hear me? It's Murray Walker talking to you.
I sure can, Murray.
What about those changed tyres of yours? Are they doing the job?
Actually, they're doing quite well, actually. It's just that the sun's come out a bit. It doesn't suit me as well as I'd like it if it was overcast, but them's the brakes.
Jim, Dick, this is a commentator's dream of home. You started at the back and you're cutting your way through the field. It's great viewing.
Yeah, the only problem is Bowie's doing better.
We also have our telemetry, Murray, as you can see coming out of that car too.
Oh, don't watch, mate. You might cop an over-rev every now and then.
5.5, 6,000 RPM. That's 150 Ks. And down into second gear goes Dick. On go the brakes. And now race order on lap 13 out of 20. So we've still got 7 laps to go. And it's still Mark Scaife in the lead from Thomas Mazzara, with Larry Perkins in third position and Alan Jones in fourth place. In fifth place is Jim Richards, and in sixth place, making up the leaderboard, is Wayne Gardner in the Holden Commodore.
So there is the gap opening. Mark Scaife into that turn. John Trimble is the next one through. Thomas Mazzara runs in second. Third is Larry Perkins. He goes through. Fourth is Alan Jones. Fifth, of course, is Jimmy Richards. Sixth spot, about to go through that turn, was Wayne Gardner. So Wayne Gardner's been able to stay with the pack here today.
Yes, and another one that's staying well is Larry. You can see just how critical qualifying in this championship has become, Mike, because Larry was hardly on camera in the first heat. That's right. But by virtue of getting through the Dodgem car exercise on the opening lap in this heat, has got up there and is holding third, a very creditable third, and keeping this freight train at bay behind him.
Here's a good dice as Glenn Seaton coming up behind Jim Richards.
And my man John Bow is now in 8th position. He's taken yet another place, having started from the back. We're going to see him right in the picture very shortly. And Glenn Seaton is now a lap down on race leader Mark Scaife on lap 15 out of 20.
Yes, it'll be a very dissolved bit of oil coming up onto the windscreen there. More than a bit, a lot of oil coming out of the two cars in front of him.
Close here. Seaton pulls to the inside. There's Alan Jones on the outside. Jim Richards sits one ahead of him. Past the grandstand at Sandown and bound for the left-hander now as they get onto the brakes.
He'll have to be terribly despondent. Glenn will really be upset about losing the points in this race, Murray.
Look at the right rear of
that's as damaged as we've ever seen a Peter Jackson car. He looks like he's gone through World War III on that car.
Alan Jones has now dropped 3 places. Do you suspect a car problem? It's not like Alan to give 3 places up like that.
The combination of that, or bearing in mind these tires now have gone a long way, Murray. They had to start qualifying with these yesterday. Heat 1 this morning, and now at the end of the day, they're really asking a lot from one set of tires.
I would think, Murray, that maybe Glenn Seaton might like to finish today with the fastest time, and that's why he's back out.
There he is. Sorry to interrupt you, Mike. There is John Bow, and you can see by the way that the Ford is really leaping over the curves that John Bow has got the red mist in front of his eyes. I had lunch with him, and he was saying that he was very displeased with the way things had gone in the first leg. He didn't actually say he'd been done hard by in being made to start at the back and with a 20-second penalty, but it was pretty plain that that was how he felt. And my goodness, you can see it now as John Bow in 8th position is fighting back, and he is right behind Wayne Gardner and going for it.
He certainly is. Down the inside, under brakes may get him.
And he's through. I think he's through. There's Peter Brook, and he's through. Yes, John Bow has got ahead of Wayne Gardner, and he's therefore now up into 7th position. And what a drive.
I think he's going to knock a few more off before the finish too, Murray.
This just shows what the adrenaline can do for you.
Fresh set of tyres would help, and that's exactly what he's been able to capitalise on.
Absolutely.
Here he comes up the back straight. Brock's ahead of him.
Lap 17, race order. It is still Mark Scaife in the lead, and behind him is Thomas Mazzara. In 3rd position, it is Larry Perkins. In 4th position, it is Jim Richards, and there is the battle.
Bow is really flying. Let's take nothing away from the fact that he has got fresh tires. He took the penalty, started from the back of the grid, but he has got the bit between his teeth here, Murray, and is determined.
He really has pulled the bung out with a masterful yank. And John Bow in the Ford Falcon is flying through the field.
He's got three laps to go as they go across the line. Alan Jones has got a car problem. He waved Wayne Gardner through the last time they came past the pits. And here we follow them down into the left-hander. There's JB.
In the Shell FAI Ford Falcon, John Bow.
He's given Ford fans something to cheer about today. It's been a fairly despondent day for them.
He has two disadvantages as far as some drivers are concerned. He has a beard and glasses, and that's an unusual
Well, let's not get too personal about the glasses.
I can accept the beard, I can't accept the glasses.
I can see my reflection in yours, thank you very much.
So, Larry Perkins, another chap with spectacles, is not holding him up at all. And Larry is still in third position, behind Mazzera, second place, Mark Scaife, the leader, and only just ahead, as you can see.
Here we've had Mazzera do a spin on the approach to the left-hander. He was doing extremely well there earlier in the race, nailing cars on that occasion, but overconfident.
So we're looking now at the battle for second place on lap 19 out of 20. Only one lap to go after this as Mazzera pushes up the dust, fights his way back onto the track, right at the back of the field. Larry Perkins is in second place. Jim Richards is in third position.
And the other good news, Murray, is that John Bow has a new track record coming through the field, a 1:14.346. So he's done it from the back of the pack today as Perkins gets a little sideways out of that turn.
I can't say I'm surprised because he's driving a masterly race.
Oh.
And there is another spinner.
Mazzera
It's
again.
Mazzera again. He's either trying too hard or his tyres are completely shot.
I think probably the latter, Murray. He couldn't...
Well, he couldn't hang on with that.
John Bow is in fifth place now.
Yeah, fabulous drive from Bow. And here's the man who will go into the books today with almost not the clean sweep he enjoyed at Amaroo Park, but enough to silence his critics. Mark Scaife and the Winfield Commodore. Certainly the class of the field here today at Sandown. And he'll take the checkered flag next time as they come down the straightaway. In fact, it is now above, and Mark Scaife completes it today. Beautiful driving from Scaife. Gets along the line for second spot is Larry Perkins. Jimmy Richards gets across there behind him, and they're waiting for Peter Brock to come in, and right behind Brock is in fact John Bow.
2 drives, 2 wins, 40 points for Mark Scaife.
Can't do any better than that.
I'm having dinner with him tomorrow and the drinks are on, Mark.
Make absolutely sure of it. Checkered flag for Mark Scaife. Great day for him, for Holden, for Freddie Gibson's motorsport team. In the Winfield Commodore, he takes off. And we'll confirm for you on our Shell race score the placings today in race number 2 of round 2 here at Sandown.
Let's check them out for you on the Shell race score. Mark Scaife, the big victor at Sandown today. Second, Larry Perkins. At a third, it was Jimmy Richards. In fourth, 05, Peter Brock. And in fifth, car 18, John Bow. In sixth was car 4, Wayne Gardner. Good effort that. In 7, car 30, Alan Jones. Position 8 was car 23, Paul Morris from the Diet Cape Commodore. In 9th, 25, Tony Longhurst. And rounding out the 10, Dickie Johnson in car 17. We'll be back in just a moment.
We've seen a fabulous 2 races today. John Bow from the back of the field. The man who finished with enough points overall for third today, Larry Perkins from Melbourne. Great drive, Larry. Congratulations. You've got a lot of fans here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't really expect to come this far up, but when I got a good start and others got a worse start, and I found myself second and thought this can't be too bad. And people who thought I had a wide Commodore before were going to be in for something, but I didn't have to get into that, and it was apt to come second.
Well done, Larry. Larry Perkins, ladies and gentlemen. Second in points over the 2 heats today. I guess all I've got to say is Peter Perfect. Tell me the truth, you pay these people, don't you?
Yeah, look, I've got to apologise to a few people out there too. On the start line there, I could think of all excuses like the clutch failed or the car wasn't in gear, I did something crazy. I just stalled it, I'll tell you right now, so I was very embarrassed. but I had to really drive hard to catch up, and credit to the boys really at Holden Racing Team for giving me such a great car, and we could press on.
Well done. No doubt about it, we've had 4 races, 2 rounds of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. He's won the lot. Mark Scaife. Well done, Mark. Fabulous drive today, and the first and the second, you deserve all the success you're enjoying.
The car went very, very well. Obviously, the tyre hung in great, and to Jim for running third in the last race, obviously the cars are fantastic.
They certainly are, and there's Simmons Plains next weekend. Tom Smith, the motorsport manager from Shell, to put the garland on Mark Scaife. He leads the series.
Congratulations, Mark. Played off for 2 weeks in a row.
Let's take a look at the championship points as they stand at the moment. Mark Scaife, the leader, on 86. Peter Brock, second on 47. Glenn Seaton, third on 47. Thomas Mazier on 37. And Jim Richards on 36. We hope you've enjoyed our telecast of the Touring Car Championship today by Shell at Sandown International Raceway. And for 7, don't forget, we'll be back with you at Simmons.